Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Deborah from Art by Deborah Rose, and this week we are going to be doing painting with texture with a common canvas with Lolly Doodle Studios, Window on Fire, and Jeannie's palette. Check out all of our artists in that collaboration. It would be wonderful. So let's get to this week's challenge. We are going to do a whale tail or mermaid tail, whichever you want to call it, on a wood panel that I had actually painted as a cloud pour. So for the colors that I'm using, I'm going to take you step by step through the whole thing. But the colors that I'm using are Tri-Art Carbon Black and TLP, or this little piggy, Benevolence, which you see I'm putting in there right now. I put a scoop of my Carbon Black, and I'm going to very, very gently mix those two together. This and the combination of the golden mixture that I'm going to be using to put into the colors will give me my texture to use my palette knife to create texture on the whale tail or mermaid tail, whichever we want to call it. So I sped this up for you so that you don't have to sit and watch me mixy. But I'm mixing it really thoroughly. And I think I decide right about here that I need a little bit more benevolence. This little piggy pigments, they add a little bit of sparkle to the color. And I just wanted that to not be a pure black, but more like a blue black. So again, I'm mixing that very gently. When you're using pigments, you should be wearing a dust mask or, an N95 mask, just so you don't breathe in any of that pigment. So I'm mixing this up really thoroughly. This is sped up about 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times, just so you don't have to watch me mix the whole thing. And now you're going to see that I am going to add 2. I'm adding Golden Coarse Molding Paste, and it's regular gloss gel by Golden, and I mixed it into this container 50-50, about 50% of each component. And now I'm just mixing that with my color, and it's going to make this very thick and somewhat coarse kind of a paste with that color. I don't want it to fall off my spoon, and as you see, I'm actually mixing it in a small container that's rounded, and I'm doing that on purpose. I got this really great idea from someone that I watched on YouTube who uses round containers instead of using like a glass or anything to mix it and pull the paint off with. I really did find it easier to load my palette knife this way. So I put a little bit into about what I thought I would need into a separate container, and now I'm pulling this closer. This was a stencil that I created using my Cricut Joy, and I cut it on stencil vinyl and put it onto the board. And I was able to kind of pull it off and put it back on in the area that I wanted it. And I wasn't sure initially if this was going to work, but you'll see at the end, it was so satisfying pulling that stencil off and seeing the nice clean edges. So you see I'm using a smaller palette knife. It doesn't have a pointy edge on it, but as I load the palette knife with the paint, I try to make sure that I get a little point on the edge. So I kind of scrape the sides of the palette knife. Does not have to be perfect. This was my first time actually doing this. I did try some flowers and they turned out terrible, but you know how that is when you're trying something new. But this is really pretty. Pieces of Tara, I think it is, Tara Lombardi. She is the ace at this. Does these scales on her pieces that are so gorgeous. So you should check out Pieces of Tara on YouTube. She's really good at this. I haven't taken a class with her yet, and so this was all just guessing for me. I just knew that I needed to have a thick molding paste kind of a texture. And this ended up being just gorgeous. So I won't make you sit here and watch me slowly do this. So I will be speeding this up. I'll let you enjoy some of the music while I lay this down on the little whale tail. Enjoy the music and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to jump back in here for a second. I'm coming towards the end and I think that I need just a little bit more molding paste, and then the big reveal of pulling this off. This was really a lot of fun. I wasn't worried about how perfect it was or if I was laying down anything just right. I didn't scrape anything off. I just wanted to enjoy the process. And I think anybody could do this. Obviously, I don't do it perfectly. I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to find a new little technique to try to figure out. But this is definitely something that I want to learn how to do. I would love to learn how to make beautiful flowers using this technique. This is more like, I guess, like scales. That's what Tara calls them. She's an amazing artist, and she has just perfected this technique in her art. You have to check out some of her pieces. She's pretty amazing. So I'm coming towards the end of this one, and now comes the awesome part here in a second. I just kind of want to get the scales just a little bit over the edge of this. And then the most satisfying part of this whole thing, well, besides making the scales, is pulling this stencil off. And I do want to say, when you do this, make sure that you're painting, if you're doing fluid art, make sure your painting has been drying for at least a week or two before if you're going to use a stencil. This is not super sticky, but it does stick down pretty good, and you wouldn't want to ruin your painting, so you'll want to make sure that you let your painting dry really, really well before you attempt this. I think this painting had been drying for almost a month. But peeling the stencil off and seeing those beautiful clean edges, I don't know about you, but my little brain was enjoying it. There's something about those clean edges that is really cool. So I will be doing this again. I think it would be pretty with some different kinds of stencils and some different kinds of texture techniques to try out. I will be heading south here in a couple days, and this just reminds me of the ocean, although I won't be where there's whales, so maybe mermaids, who knows. So I want to thank you all. I've got it all pulled up. I'm going to give you guys a close-up of it. I want to thank you for joining me this week with my collaboration with A Common Canvas with our hosts Lolly Doodle Studios, Widow on Fire, and Jeannie's Palette. I hope that you check out the other artists in this collaboration, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me again in a couple of weeks when I believe our Common Canvas challenge will be monochromatic, and I may be one of the hosts for that. So take care of yourselves, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Hope it's not storming where you are. We are in the middle of another snowstorm here in northern New York. But there you go. A beautiful whale/mermaid tail for your enjoyment. Take care, everyone. Please don't forget, if you enjoy this content, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and maybe drop me a comment and let me know what you think. And until we meet again, take care, God bless, and get out there and do some painting. Enjoy!